Hello children, how are you all? Hope you all are in the peak of your health. So a very good morning to all of you. Now today I'll be taking the lesson My Childhood by APJ Abdul Kalam from the text Beehive. Okay? Now I'm cocksure that you all know about Abdul Kalam. Now this is a part, or this is taken as an extract from his own book, the book written by him, Wings of Fire. So whenever you get time, the book is there in our library. Do take that book and read. It's in a very simple language and you will really enjoy it. You have to read it. Such a great personalities are born on this earth very, very rarely. So APJ Abdul Kalam was not only a genius in the field of science, but also a very good politician. So he was born on 15th October 1931 in Rameshwaram and died on July 7th, 1950 while attending or while giving a motivational class to students in Shillong. He just passed away as he was talking. Such a great man who will never be forgotten by anybody as long as there are human beings on this earth. He was the 11th President of India. He served India as the President from 2002 to 2007. He studied Physics and Aerospace Engineering from Madras Institute of Technology. He received his degree in Aeronautical Engineering. Now he is also known by another name, that is, he is known as the Missile Man of India, and he is also regarded as People's President. Now he was loved not only by people in India, but by people around the world. And that is why his birthday, after he passed away, or his birth anniversary, is celebrated as what? Come on, I'm sure you know, as World Students' Day. So we should all be proud to be born as an Indian. Why? Because this great man earned a name not only for himself, but for all his countrymen. Such a great man. But the best part is that he was very, very humble. He was humble in all his dealings. Very humble. We rarely come across such people in a lifetime. So you should not forget him. And see that you read this book, okay, Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam, and this lesson which is prescribed for you or which you have learned is an extract from that book, okay. So now let me come down to the lesson. Can you think of any scientists who have also been statesmen? APJ Abdul Kalam, whose projects in space, defense and nuclear technology guided India into the 21st century, became our 11th president in 2002. In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. In his autobiography, Wings of Fire, he speaks of his childhood. Okay, now let me move down to the lesson. I was born. Who is that I over here? This is an autobiography. So it was written by Abdul Kalam, and he just explains to us, that is in this extract, his childhood days are projected. I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island of Rameshwaram in the erstwhile Madras Street. Now he was born in Rameshwaram, which belonged to Madras. Now today we call that place as Chennai. My father, Jainalu Zainabuluddin had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and true generosity of spirit. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashima. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day, but I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our family put together. So, that is innate quality. He's saying my father didn't have any formal education, but he had something in him, and that is he was very, very generous, and my mother always supported him. That is, Abdul Kalam is telling us that the number of persons who had food in our house is more than the family members. That much people came and had food in our house, and this was served by my mother. She never showed any kind of discomfort in doing that service. So people with large hearts can only do that. And today we have got small nuclear families where we find even an outsider of, that is, members of, not only an outsider, members of our own family has extra people. This should not happen. Okay, this is what is happening, but I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks. Abdul Kalam was not a handsome fellow. You cannot call him handsome. So he's just describing himself as undistinguished looks. Born too tall and handsome parents. But his parents were tall and handsome. But he's saying that he never had any looks from them. We lived in an ancestral home which was built in the middle of the 19th century. They lived in an ancestry home which was built in the middle of the 19th century. Now we are living in the 21st century. So people who go to Rameshwaram, the house is now a museum. It is locked, I think. But the memories of Abdul Kalam is there in that house. It was a fairly large Pakka house. Pakka house means a concrete structure. Now during those days, Pakka house means a very nice strong house, okay? Made of limestone and brick. Limestone, and either instead of using cement, they used to use limestone and brick. On the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram, my austere father used to avoid all inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine or clothes. In fact, I would say mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. So his father gave him all comforts, but not unnecessary comforts. But today, the children are fed with so many comforts that they cannot bear anything. Here, Abdul Kalam is telling about his childhood. His father gave him everything, the basic things, that is food, good food, shelter, medicine, and whatever comfort is required, that was given. So he's saying that his childhood was secure emotionally and materialistically. That is, he didn't have anything which was not there. Okay? He enjoyed all the comforts and he was happy with it. The Second World War broke out in 1939 when I was 8 years old. Abdul Kalam was born in the year 1931 and he was only 8 years old when the World War broke. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. So he is just describing his childhood. He is saying, and during that time, there was a sudden demand for tamarind seeds. Tamarind, what is tamarind? Pulida adi. I used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street. a day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. So he's saying that he used to collect the tamarind seeds and he used to go and sell it to the market, and he used to get 1 anna after selling it. 1 anna means 6 pice. My brother-in-law, Jalaluddin, would tell me stories about the war, which I would later attempt to trace in the headlines in Dinamani. Now, Dinamani was the name of the newspaper. And he's saying that his brother-in-law, that is his elder sister's husband, used to tell him stories about the war, and he used to try to find it out in the newspaper. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by war. Now, since it was Rameshwaram, the tip of one side of India, he's saying that the war didn't have any effect in their area. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces, and something like a state of emergency was declared. The first casualty came in the form of the suspension of the train halt at Rameshwaram station. So he's saying that actually there was no disturbance, but all of a sudden India was forced to join the Allied forces and an emergency was passed. Now we say curfew, or what I should say, that people should not people should not move together, or they are not supposed to walk about in the streets. And all of a sudden, as a part of the emergency, the train which used to run from the Rameshwaram station, which had a halt over there, was all of a sudden stopped because of this emergency. The newspapers now had to be bundled and thrown out from the moving train on the Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So, since this train didn't have a halt at Rameshwaram station, what they used to do, they used to pack, that is, newspapers were thrown from the train in the road between, that is, Rameshwaram road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. That forced my cousin Shamsuddin, who distributed newspaper in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, as if naturally I filled the slot. So his cousin used to distribute papers. That is, papers used to come from, the train used to halt in Rameshwaram station, and from there they used to collect the newspapers and he used to distribute. But when this thing happened, he wanted a helping hand. So Abdul Kalam is telling that he filled the slot. That is, he filled the slot means Alinde Koravu Negathi Koduthu. He went to help his cousin. Shamsuddin helped me earn my first stages. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my own money for the first time. So he's saying that half a century, that is after nearly 50 years, when he sits and thinks back of his childhood days, he's saying that Shamsuddin paid him, his cousin paid him for the work that he did. And he's saying that he had so lots of pride, so much lots of pride, that he had earned his own salary for the first time. Every child is born with some inherited characteristics into a specific socio-economic and emotional environment and trained in certain ways by figures of authority. So he's saying that every child has got some inherent qualities, some nice qualities born with them. And it is through education and through the surroundings and the way they are brought up that it is built in them. So, and trained in certain ways by figures of authorities. Who are the figures of authorities? Can you tell me? Figures of authority, first of all, your parents, and second, your teachers. Okay? I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. From my mother, I inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness, and so did my 3 brothers and sister. I had 3 close friends in my childhood, Ramananda Shastri, Aravindan, and Shiva Prakashan. All these boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. So he's saying that he developed three qualities. I inherited honesty and self-discipline from my father. And from his mother he inherited goodness and deep kindness. Discipline, goodness and deep kindness. And so did his brothers and sister. He had three close friends. Who were they? Ramananda Shastri, Aravindan and Shiva Prakrashan. All three came from Orthodox Brahmin family. Abdul Kalam was a Muslim. As children, none of us ever felt any difference amongst ourselves because of our religious differences and upbringing. So he's saying that as children, we never felt any differences in our way we grew up. That is, we were close friends. We never thought of any Hinduism or Muslim in it. No religious bias between them. Ramananda Shastri was the son of Pakshi Lakshmana Shastri, the high priest of Rameshwaram temple. Now his very close friend Ramananda Shastri was the son of the priest of Rameshwaram temple. Later he took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple. So his friend, when he became big, he also took up to priesthood. Okay, he became the priest of Rameshwaram temple. Who was he? Ramananda Shastri. Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for visiting pilgrims, and Shiva Prakrashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. So his three close friends, one became a priest. Aravindan, that is Ramananda Shastri, became a priest. Aravindan took up to business, that is of transporting pilgrims, and Shiva Prakrashan became a catering contractor for the railways, Southern Railways. During the annual Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, our family used to arrange boats with a special platform for carrying idols of the Lord from the temple to the marriage site situated in the middle of the pond called Ramatirtha, which was near our house. Events from the Ramayana and from the life of the prophet were the bedtime stories my mother and grandmother would tell the children in our family. See, during those days, there were no mobiles, no televisions, only radios which were running at particular time. Otherwise, there was no other means of entertainment. So always families used to remain close to each other, and it was after having their dinner, bedtime stories were told to them by their mother and by his grandmother and his mother. And the stories which were told were from the Hindu scriptures as well as from the Quran. So there was no bias in that. He's saying that the Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony, which was held in the middle of the pond, and that was just near his house. So they used to arrange boats. So there was no bias. As Hindu or Muslim, everybody took part in it equally. So the middle of the pond was called Ramatirtha, and this Ramatirtha was very near Abdul Kalam's house, and everybody took part in it. So bedtime stories of the prophet as well as from the scriptures, Hindu scriptures, were told to all the children by his mother and his grandmother. One day when I was in the 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. So, only difference was that his Brahmin friends had sacred thread round their shoulder or round their neck. He had a cap. Okay, so a new teacher had come to teach them when he was in the elementary school, and he's recollecting it. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with a Muslim boy. The new teacher could not stomach means could not digest. Dahikanillarnu. That is a Hindu priest boy sitting near a Muslim boy. In accordance with our school social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. So he was asked to go and sit in the back bench by the teacher. And this made him very, very sad. It's but natural, right? As children, you all know about it. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. Now, Rama, he felt sad. Abdul Kalam also felt sad, and his friend was nearly weeping. And Abdul Kalam wrote this book years after he came to a good position. Now he's saying that. He used to say that, I can still remember the face of his friend crying, and that was always has left a mark in his mind. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Shastri supported, summoned the teacher, and in our presence told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. So each child went and told their parents. Now, Lakshmana Shastri, the father of Ramananda Shastri, called the teacher and scolded him and told him, don't spread what is that in social inequality and communal intolerance into the minds of children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. He was so angry, and he was powerful also, very influential person. He told the teacher, either say sorry or leave this place and go. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. Now, the strong sense of conviction which was bored into the mind of the teacher, he got himself reformed. Okay? So right at the root level, such things were avoided by the parents, and the teachers also changed themselves. Okay? I hope you have understood so much part of this lesson, and do read this lesson. I will give you the short questions, find out the answers, and the notes will be given to you after the lesson gets over. Okay? So I will continue with it in the next session. Thank you.